Hello, welcome back. Today I have some very breaking news. My headline is this Florida city. Could it be the epicenter of a upcoming impending housing crash? All right. So without further ado, let's share this very important data with this data came from residential.com, a very good housing data organization. So here's the headline. Punta Gorda. Okay, a lot of you may not heard about this particular city. It is located in the southwest Florida corner. It's a very big news boom and bust potentially. So this small city of approximately 200,000 people, the data I'm going to show you for the next 15 minutes could be the data that could trigger, okay, maybe not a housing crash, a deep correction, if you will. Let's dive deeper. All right. So here it is. Punta Gorda was one of the hardest hit housing market back in 2008. By the way, I'm a real estate investor. I've been doing real estate investing for 20 something years. And Florida is one of the markets that our investors have entered as for high cash flow, good appreciation market for many years, ever since the housing crash. So is this going to be another crash today, just like 2008? And it's triggered by the data from this particular city, Punta Gorda. No. All right, so let's dive deep. Okay, between December 2019 and July 22, Punta Gorda home prices surged a staggering 73.2%. That is absolutely mind-boggling. So skyrocketing cost home prices in the past 5 years. In the past 2019, in the past 2020, 2021, in the past 3.5 years, 2019 to 2022. Anyway, you get the idea. Again, Lance Lambert is the author of this particular article from Resi Club. So I really enjoyed this particular website. At the height of the pandemic boom back in May 2022, before the mortgage rates skyrocketed from 3% to 8%, like in May 2022, toward the end of 2022, first key homes and institutional landlord owned by private equity firm Servius bought a 3-bedroom house for $445K. Fast forward for a few months thereafter, in February of 2024, early this year, that particular home was reduced to $400K. All right, it's not much of a reduction, $45,000 reduction. Then fast forward to last month, July, and the home, this small sample size, is still for sale, and then it have seen price cut 6 times to all the way down to 336K from 445K back in what, 2 years ago, May 2022 until July 24. This very same house, I know it's very small sample size, have reduced 6 times to 336K. So we're talking more than $100,000 reduction of prices in the past 2 years, and represent pretty much 25% decline from May 2022 until July of this year, 2024. Some regional markets in states like Florida, Texas, Louisiana are experiencing home price corrections, not a crash, corrections. Different people define corrections differently. I define it around 5 to 10% reduction in home prices. That's my definition of corrections. And this includes the town of Punta Gorda in the metro areas in southwest Florida. All right. So as you can see, the inflation, of course, inflation have been increasing since June 2020 all the way up here. So pretty substantial. And the U.S. housing market pretty much patterns after inflation, right? Pretty gradual increases and slight dip in the past 4 years, if you will. However, Punta Gorda have gone through some pandemic highs and pandemic lows, if you will. You see the vertical line here, like I said, skyrocketing from June 2020 all the way up to 73% appreciation from 2020 June until May of 2022. Then it went a little bit downwards when the mortgage rate skyrocketed back in the latter part of 2022, as we all remember, hopefully, maybe. And then increased slightly in the beginning of 2023, then went a little bit down to all the way towards right now. So this downward trend from throughout the whole 12 months, June 2023 to June 2024, we see the downward trend associated with Punta Gorda. So keep this in mind, okay? That you have to look at the data, you have to look at the trends. So Punta Gorda, which was impacted back in the past 4 years, Punta Gorda, like a lot of places in the country, especially in Florida and in Texas, we're seeing a tremendous amount of boom during the pandemic, right? People are accelerating their retirement, the remote work, the work from home migration. People are flocking into Florida. Right? Tremendous migration occurred during the pandemic for the reasons stated. So therefore, between 2019, December and June, July 2022, U.S. home prices soared by a whopping 42.6%. This is nationwide. However, certain local markets are more or less than that. But however, Punta Gorda is almost at an increase of staggering 73% in the past 2 years. So much higher than the U.S. across the U.S. Nationwide. Not long after the mortgage rate spike and migration shifted, Punta Gorda slipped into what Resi Club calls a correction mode. Correction mode, quote unquote, and that's to say it. Anyway, so as you can see, okay, typical home value according to Zillow, already discussed that. Punta Gorda have went way higher than the national average during the pandemic real estate boom as a result of the amazing historical low mortgage rate of around 3% from late 2020 to May of 2022. So that 18 months window of skyrocketing pandemic housing boom as a result of the low mortgage rate. So you know what I'm talking about. So indeed, Punta Gorda was one of the hardest hit housing markets back in bubble bust back in 2008. We're not going to go all the way over there. So there are some distinct differences between what happened in 2008 and what's happening currently. But okay, look at the trends, right? So from the peak to trough, U.S. home prices fell 26.2% from 2006 until the bottom in 2012, right? The global financial crisis, housing crash, I don't care how you call it. In comparison, during that period, Punta Gorda home fell even more than the national trend during the housing crash, all the way down to 47.8% from the bubble peak in 2006 to the bottom in 2011, which is the 5-year window of a crash. But so back in those days, right before the crash occurred in 2007, Punta Gorda, you can see from month to month trend, the red color is a red flag. The trend in Punta Gorda, Southwest Florida, back in 2007, right before the crash, as you could by the red color and the orange darker color shows distress, right? So on a month-to-month basis, we have seen systematic decreases in home prices back in 2008, then 2009. You see that month-to-month decrease, 2%, 3%, 2%. So it's all cumulative. By the end of the 2007, you add up all the negative monthly cumulative decline, it adds up to very significant 40% housing crash back in 2007. In 2008, continuing to see the trend. So that's how you look at the trends, month to month, a reduction of home prices in Punta Gorda right before the housing crash. And the blue line shows stability, all right? Since 2012, in a lot of areas in the country, including Southwest Florida, and we have seen systematic, consistent appreciation from 2011 to 2020. Then, of course, the pandemic hit. And then, for the reason I just stated, Southwest Florida, in particular, Punta Gorda, have achieved skyrocketing appreciation in the past few years. All right, fast forward, let's see what Resi Club has to say. It says right here, home prices in Punta Gorda hasn't stopped falling yet, as of right now, and have further to fall in the second half of 2024. I don't know, right? No one have a crystal ball. The way I see it, for Punta Gorda to continue to fall toward the remaining of this year, 2024, the mortgage rate needs to be around 6.5%, 7%, like it is in the past 1 year. Although the mortgage rate today is pretty nice at 6.5%, one of the lowest in the past 1 year. So there's a good sign So if the unemployment spike a little bit higher, if the labor market shows some distress, right, and all that, and the mortgage rate stay the way it is for the rest of 2024, we might see the homes in Punta Gorda to continue to decrease gradually. However, in my opinion, if the mortgage rate for the rest of this year stay at 6.5% or thereabout, then maybe even lower, then we may see some demand coming back into that market, or we may see a stabilization in Punta Gorda as well as the rest of the country. So only time will tell. But historically speaking, the housing markets that see very little appreciation during the first half period usually see outright price declines once the market moves into the softer seasonal window in the second half of the year. By the way, real estate market is seasonal towards the second half of every year. We have seasonality. We have fewer transactions. We have home prices decreasing just a little bit. Seasonal situation. So I wouldn't be stressed about it. All right. Changes in metro level home prices since the peak in 2022. As you can see right here in the Midwest and Northeast, they have seen some high price appreciation because of a lack of inventory. And there's a lot of inventory that are in the South and Southeast area of Florida and Texas, in major metros. We see a lot spike in inventory, and demand have not caught up with the supply. So therefore, there's a little bit of correction in the various markets in the South and Southeast. So the vast majority of housing markets in Midwest and Northeast and Southern California have higher home prices now than when the mortgage rates first spiked in mid-2022, but not in Punta Gorda, right? Home prices in Punta Gorda were down 9.1% from 2022 price peak. Only a few markets like Austin and New Orleans at 18.6 and at 13.4 have seen bigger dips. All right. So active housing inventory for sale by month. As you can see, the nationwide housing inventory on a monthly basis has skyrocketed between July of last year, 2023, until July of this year, 2024. You see the number of listings skyrocketed. Of course, we saw during the pandemic boom, because of the low mortgage rate, we see a lowest inventory, lowest supply in history back in July 21 and the first half of 2022, right? We see, and of course, during the pre-pandemic, we see a pretty stabilization of supply versus demand, around 4 months supply. And now you see the skyrocketing of inventory nationwide, and not nationwide, but in particular here in Punta Gorda and Southwest Florida, for that matter. All right, on ResiCorp, it is important to monitor active listings. Active listings a month of supply. These are two metrics that's important to look at the trends to determine if moving forward short term, whether it's Punta Gorda or anywhere else in the country, that can determine the correction housing crash scenario. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Redfin website momentarily to look at the active listings and month of supply, so I can clearly let you know from Redfin whether the data support any future impending correction or housing crash in Punta Gorda, and perhaps beyond Punta Gorda, could be beyond Florida and beyond the borders of Florida into other markets of the country. But let's look at the data. Don't jump into conclusion. Don't overreact. So hardcore data is important for you guys to get informed and get educated. So anyways, look at some graph here. Active inventory for sale from pre-pandemic July 2019 to July 24. So we'll see right here. So active listings are high, which is on the dark green color, which is in Texas and Florida, on more active listings. Whereas in the Midwest and Northeast and parts of California, we have low active listings, right? Because down here in South and Southeast, there are a lot of new construction that are overbuilt relative to demand, whereas the Midwest and the Northeast, there's a very few new construction. There are very few houses for construction. Therefore, they do have lack of supply in this region of the U.S., Midwest and Northeast. Does that make sense? All right. So Furthermore, Hurricane Ian in September 2022, see the combination of increased housing supply for sale that damaged homes, coupled with the strained demand, the result of spiked home prices, spiked mortgage rates, higher insurance premiums, and higher HOA have translated into a market softening across much of South Florida. All right. So, in addition, including Punta Gorda, of course, the epicenter of that potential housing crash, Hometown Hotel, right? No one have a crystal ball. So, in addition, Florida condo market is dealing with the after effects of regulation passed following the Surfside condo collapse in 2021. So the condo scenario is really hurting Florida. Only the condo asset class, we talk about other type of real estate asset class or single family homes, whatever, they're located in a non-hurricane areas that are more inland, they are doing well. All right. So just make sure that you have to look in, you have to compartmentalize, say this word correctly, what asset class are having stress and what location. Those are the key metrics. The asset class, clearly the condo market, not just Florida, in other areas of the coastal areas of the US, they are going through a lot of stress as a result of climate change and insurance rates higher and weather conditions and what have you, right? Anyway, let me see. Let's continue. The influx of demand during the pandemic housing boom stretched Punta Gorda home prices too far beyond local income, what the local income can support. Once rates spike and pandemic migration cooled, that stress became apparent. All right. So according to Moody's, Punta Gorda's housing market in quarter 2022 was quote unquote overvalued by 55.7%, far above the national overvaluation of 27% at the time. Okay, so anyway, so here's a very good apple to apple comparison. Punta Gorda, a city of 200,000, right? Compared to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a city of 2.4 million. Look at the amount of home building. There are similar amount of home building on Punta Gorda, which is 1/10 the size of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is, based on this graph, as you can see, more homes during the pandemic housing boom than many older Midwest and Northeast markets, including Pittsburgh. So clearly, you can read this article for the rest of yourself. So this is a very, let me say this correctly, bifurcated housing market, where similar darling of the pandemic housing boom like Punta Gorda are passing through a correction, while other markets, in particular Northeast and Midwest, remain tight and competitive, and some markets are somewhat in between. All right. So at the end of the day, so let me give you another final, the last few minutes. All right, let's look at another very good independent apple-to-apple comparison. We talk about active listings and month supply of inventory to determine the stress level moving forward. So I took the liberty of opening up Redfin active listings in Punta Gorda recently. So here are the trend. The trend since around May, a couple of months ago, 3 months ago, the active listings have been decreasing. So if the active listings were increasing like this, that means we can see a continued decline in this particular market. But the active listing has slowly decreasing all the way down to 3,700 active listings as of August 11. If it is trending downward active listings, that means the stress is lessened or is not as great. So we do not see a housing crash or maybe a slight correction for the rest of this year. It depends on a lot of factors. But one more metric, I want to show that to you. As I indicated, month of supply, right? 4 to 6 months is a balanced, healthy market. So look at the weeks of supply. We have a lot of supply in Punta Gorda at the beginning of 2024 this year. Then came all the way down for supply demand equilibrium. So we're talking in August of 2024, weeks of supply 9 weeks divided by 4 weeks per month. So equal. So 7 months, okay, I'm calculating in my head. 7 months supply of inventory. Think about it. 4 to 6 months is a balanced market demand and supply equally. Now we have 7 months. So we have slightly supply market situation. All right. So this trend using reference data, I will monitor this market. So this could be the Punta Gorda in Southwest Florida, could be the epicenter of a potential heavy correction, maybe even housing crash. So I don't want to jump the gun. So let's monitor it. Right now it's a little bit about buyer's market. Let's see if the active listings continue to go down and the supply of our month of supply hopefully comes down. Then Punta Gorda and Southwest Florida should be okay. All right. So with that in mind, that's all I have to say. If you find any kind of value on this video, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Better yet, put down your email on my website below on the subscription so you can subscribe. You can become a free member of our real estate investing network community. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.